All right, welcome back, artists. And today we're going to talk about how to use the grid method. All right, and there's a worksheet here. It's got two sides to it, so there's two different things we're going to be doing. But it all amounts to be the same thing, which is learning how to draw using a grid. And this is going to help you for this last project that you're going to do, which is going to involve having to use a grid and how to create the grid and all that. So for now, we've already got our image, right? So you usually start out with the image that you would like to grid, excuse me, and then you create boxes that are equal in ratio to those. What that means is, right now these are 1-to-1 ratios, but you could do like a 1-to-2 ratio, you could do a 1-to-4 ratio. That would just mean that these boxes are bigger, but they are the same shape relative to what the size is here. Okay, so of course the first thing we're going to put on here is our name so that we know whose is whose. Helps me in the end. Okay, and before we actually start to do the drawing portion of it, one thing I really like to do, because it helps you kind of stay in the same areas, is I like to letter and number the rows and the columns. So for each column here, I'm going to give them each their own letter. So A, B, C, D, and E. I'm going to do the same thing on my blank boxes, B, C, D, and E. And then I'm going to number the column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each row in this column has its own number. And then same thing for this side. 4, 5, and 6. So what we're going to do now is we are going to start to basically copy this, but use this grid to help us figure out exactly where things are going to go. So for that, I am going to zoom in a little bit so we can see it a little bit closer. And I always like to start with things that are the easiest part, right? These flowers, there's a lot of lines in here and they start to get difficult. And I know on the screen it looks dark, but you can definitely see some of the differences here on the actual photocopy. But the first thing I'm going to try and get and start to draw is this stem. And I'm going to look and say, okay, so this is in E6 here. So I need to know I have to be in E6 over here. And the space that this takes up, what I'm doing is I'm marking where that stem hits the edges of those boxes. And on this box, it's going to be in the exact same place. So if I look at this, this is roughly half of this box on this line. So I'm going to put a little mark at the halfway point there. It's the same spot. It comes in a little bit, so I'm going to make that other dot come in a little bit. This is pretty close to the edge here and here. So now I have the same dots here that I've put on my actual photocopy. And so then all I'm going to do now is connect those dots. And now that box is done. And I can move on to the next box. So I'm going to go up to the one that's above it. So this is 5E. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in 5E. And now I know where these ended up here because I already marked them and I drew them. So now I'm going to see where those marks are in the next box up and try to guesstimate. So if this was half, this is going to be to the left of half. So I'm going to take and put that dot in a little bit. And this one, same thing. It's not in the same row as this one. It's to the left of that one because it's starting to curve a little bit. So I'm going to now connect these two new dots to the lines that I already drew. And now that box is done. And this is how you will continue to do this throughout the entirety of the grid drawing. And again, just always check to see which box you are in, and then eventually you're going to be able to finish this grid. Now, if you have a little piece that sort of sticks out like this one right here, I sort of look and see where it lines up with on the side of that box. And I'm going to find that same spot here so I know that it connects there. And then this comes out and down, and now that box for me is done. All right, so I'm going to continue here for a little bit and really start to draw some of these things out. I'll speed the video up a little bit, but the idea is still the same. You're going to be sort of just looking to see what box you're in, looking to see how much space those lines in that shape take up. They should match what's happening in the photo because it is a one-to-one copy. All right, so I'm going to continue that, and when I've got a little bit more done, I'll come back and then we will talk about what to do for the other side of our worksheet. So as you can see, I've kind of got my outline going for my flower. I could go back and do some details. I can start on my other one, but that is your basic how-to to get this grid drawing going, okay? And at this point, once I have all my extra details in there and I have my second flower, I would start to add some values to this, right? It's pretty dark, right? So it should be pretty easy to get some of those values in there, nice dark values. If you can't see it too well, there will be a copy of this posted on Schoology, so you can take a look at it. Sometimes the copier makes the photocopies a little bit dark. I'm going to zoom back out, and we are going to talk about the other side of our sheet here. And this one is a little bit different. If I could get it going in the right direction, that would be helpful. So instead of having the image perfectly done for us, right, at this point, it's giving us box numbers and it's showing us the lines that are in those boxes. And again, this is a 1-to-1 ratio, so you can go ahead and just try to fit the lines in the boxes where they go. Now, you have to really look and see what the numbers are. One thing I like to do first is I sort of go in, box 1 doesn't have anything in it. 48 doesn't have anything in it. 18 doesn't have anything in it. 19, 43. So you already know that these boxes have nothing in them. So when you are working on here and you're like, oh, well, what goes in this box? Well, guess what? There's nothing in that box. So you can sort of cross those numbers off, right? So if I look, 42 has nothing, so I can go in there, kind of scratch out 42 because I'm not going to need that number. 47, number 7, number 12. I already did 7, 37. As soon as I figure out where that is. 13, which is up here, 25. And this, again, this is just letting you know that there's nothing in those boxes for you to concern yourself with. 11, 41, 19, 43, 18. Oh, I missed 6. 6 doesn't have anything in it either. 48 has nothing in it. and number 1. And of course, if I miss anything as I go through, I will also do that. So you can either start by trying to find the numbers in order, or you can just take them as you want here on the grid on the bottom, because they're all mixed up. So first thing I'm going to look at, because it's relatively easy to try and do, is going to be box 30. Okay, so box 30 is here. I'm going to find box 30 over here. There's a couple of simple lines here. And same thing like I did with the last drawing, is I'm going to find those same spots. So this is like a little bit below half. So here's my halfway. That first dot's going to be there. Sort of meets at the halfway point on this side. So I'm going to put that dot there. And then these are sort of evenly spaced below that. And then you kind of have these two sort of thick lines that connect. Okay, so from here, I could try to find number 36 and try to connect it to 36. I could go for 29 and try to connect it. Just realize you can do this in any order, but I would highly suggest that once you have done this, that you cross the number off down here so you don't repeat it. You've already done it. And really try to work out from where you are starting, because you're going to be connecting lines to what you've already drawn. If you just start jumping all over the place, you might get a little confused, but you know, that's completely up to you. So I'm going to look at 36, which is continuing on from that point, and it's kind of got this little round sort of, I don't know if it's going to be a leaf, a petal. You know, this is sort of a mystery. I mean, it's not a mystery to me, but it's going to be a mystery to you until you get the whole thing drawn out. All right, so I've done box 36, so I can continue moving on. Maybe I'm going to move on to box 29, which is right up here. So I'm going to kind of start off from where this sort of leads off. So that's these two right here. There's something that goes into the corner. This is right about here. So again, I'm creating these little points so that I can figure out how things are going to connect. So this isn't a straight line. There's a curve here. And I'm just going to make sure that I match that in my drawing so that it's starting to look like that same box. Same thing here, sort of curves, goes into the corner. And this is sort of a thicker line. It's got some curves in it. There's a little line that comes down here. And then this will sort of connect here. And now I've finished that box. All right, and that's how you're going to tackle these worksheets. All right, so this side, you're just going to kind of hunt and peck. You're going to find which numbers go in which sections, and you're just going to try and repeat the only thing that you see in that box. When you finish, it should be a completed image. And then what you're going to do is make sure that you photograph both sides of the worksheet, and then you're going to upload that to the assignment in Schoology. All right. Good luck, guys, and then stay tuned for the next portion of our project that we're going to do, where this sort of leads into.